Coffee?
By a donkey.
It became the favourite plaything of young Erasmus Jacobs. And on a day not unlike any other, it caught the eye of a visiting neighbour, Skulk van de Kerk.
Wat is speciaal aan het lippie? Mag ik hem koop?
Vat het. Tegen niks.
The curious pebble crossed many unbelieving hands, from Hopetown to Colesburg and Grahamstown, landing finally in the hands of geologist Dr. William Atherstone. Dr. Atherstone confirmed the improbable that this was indeed a diamond. With that, news of the Eureka's discovery travelled to the distant corners of the globe. The Greeks believed diamonds were tears of the gods. The Romans believed they were splinters of fallen stars. And for Indra, the Hindu warrior god, diamonds were weapons, sharp and fatal like a thunderbolt. For centuries, people have sought the divine and the mystical in diamonds. And now I am among men who continue the pilgrimage. I landed in the Cape of Good Hope on November the 12th, 1871. There were so many hopeful men with me that I had great difficulty in booking my place on a passenger wagon travelling to the diamond fields. The road ahead is vast and foreboding. I pity those wretched travellers who make this journey alone and on foot.
Hoshi ya ka sekukune ke ena a ntumetseng lefelong la ditaemane. Mošomo wa ka ke go direla batho ba gešo tšhelete. Re mo kotsing. Re phela komelelong e kgolo gape re nyaka disabane tša go tšhireletša go merafe e mengwe.
I have seen many unlikely things as a travel writer. The most unlikely is that this unforgiving path could lead to wealth.
Ke dikgwedi tse robedi bjale ke tlogile batho ba gešo. Leetelo le sa swanelang go feta dibeke. Molemo wa Leburu gaufi la Rustenburg o gapeleditse go kgaotsa leeto la ka gomme ka šoma dipolaseng tsa gagwe dikgwedi pele ke feta go tsona. Ke tshepa jalo mafelo ale a ditaemane a gaufi.
Some 10,000 blacks come to the diggings from great distances each year, some as far as 1,000 miles. New Rush is a haphazard arrangement of shacks, shanties and huts clustered around the Colesburg Koppie, which is fast becoming a vast heaving crater. The hillock teems with labourers and brawny white men, butchers, bakers, gamblers, lawyers and loafers, all jumbled together in a mushrooming landscape of pits, picks and shovels. What were once roadways between claims have become fragile bridges, barely wide enough for horse and cart. It's downright dangerous. It is rumoured that the whole hillock could cave in and become a grave to thousands. Several pieces have already crumbled and collapsed in on hapless diggers below. Deaths and lucky escapes are gruesome talking points throughout the camps. Champagne Charlie, as he's known in these parts, is one of the most flamboyant characters on this dusty stage. When he arrived at the diggings earlier this year, he was dismissed as little more than a deserter from a sailing ship, with a weakness for beer and beautiful women. That all changed the day he found a large dark green diamond, the likes of which had never been seen before. Charlie was elevated to the toast of the town, and his credit in the local stores and pubs reached record highs. creditors and one large, green, quite worthless piece of glass. For the most part, men and women in the camps live the sober side of life, far from the romantic picture that fortune seekers imagine. They endure back-breaking work sorting for diamonds under the burning sun. It is a world of dust, drought, and flies. The shortage of water is chronic, and it's almost impossible to wash. Diarrhea, dysentery, and skin disease are common in camps. The deadly conditions do nothing to dissuade people from this frenzied hunt. They are spurred on each day by stories of remarkable finds. Herbert Rhodes, a cotton farmer from Natal, had not been at the dig a few months when he was reported to have found a diamond weighing 20 carats.
19...
In the months following, he continued to strike it rich, hauling in some 100 carats.
No, indeed. 20 carats.
Omaburi maisimana ka oswana. Kino ba moshoma o lefela tšhelete nyane. Ke go lega fatshe ga ditšhelete tsa mashome a mabedi ka beke. Mme mogolo a go a fokotsa ge ke sa tlisa merwalo e boima tšatši ka letšatši. Go makgowa ka moka rena ba magodi a ditaemane. Ga ba nyake batho ba baso ba be le mafelong a bona mepana. Ba re se se dira gore go be le bothata wa go tseba go phapana magareng a legodi la ditaemane le moepo wa tsona. Le ge go le bjalo ke batho batho ba go feta legolo ba ba nang le mafelong a bona a go eta. Ga bo le o tee wa bona yo a setseng a hweditše lehumo.
The only blacks who are striking it rich in this town are the Basuto and Swana people. They come to market each week with their supplies: wheat, maize, firewood, goat's milk, and vegetables. The South Suto and Swana are entrepreneurs who do excellent business in the marketplace. But the queues for goods seem a little shorter to me of late. It appears that the stones are petering out. In past months, diggers have struck a firmer, blue-coloured ground. Perhaps the mines are exhausted. Disillusioned miners are selling their claims for a song.
Unshoveled, a 40-carat stone 2 days ago. And now...
Most of their goods ended up under the hammer of that famous auctioneer, the Baron Rothschild.
This is a diamond-differous shovel. A diamond-differous shovel. And it's shoveled off a 40-carat stone.
With the departure of the disenchanted has come the arrival of new hopefuls. Most notably, a young man by the name of Barney Bonato. He crossed the Karoo on foot and confidently sauntered into town with little more than 40 boxes of doubtful cigars. He was strongly advised to take the next wagon back.
Good luck.
The wily young Bonato is undeterred.
Good travel stuff.
You will see him in town doing just about anything for a few pounds.
Morning. Come on, roll it up, lads. Some of the finest spices up there. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, morning.
Born 1 year to the day after the flamboyant Bonato is another notable young man on the diggings. His name is Cecil John Rhodes, but he could not be more different. He is sickly, anemic, and withdrawn. But despite his delicate disposition, he has made a name for himself as an astute businessman.
February 1874. Calamity strikes. Heavy rains have flooded all 4 mines and workers come to a standstill. November the 20th, 1874. A great landslip has buried claims worth tens of thousands of pounds. The number of men dead is unknown.
I must own that I am beginning to feel some alarm at the future of the diamond fields. Everyone is on the point of despair. White diggers turn to men of God in these times, and their black counterparts seek the counsel of Sangomas, Men who with their bones and incantations profess to know the deepest secrets of diamonds.
The dark outer reaches of space mask an abundance of glittering jewels. Diamonds existed before time itself, before the earth or the sun. They came into our world on the breath of the Great Spirit. When worlds exploded out of worlds in a colossal rage, they came also on the wings of falling stars, deep in the earth. It is in this place of heat and pressure that diamonds as we know them are born. From fiery pits below, a cauldron of burning rock worms its way through cracks and fissures to the place where diamonds lie. Blistering earth rises, and it carries them upwards, bearing them along towards the earth's surface. As it travels upwards, it breathes and swells. The final journey to the surface is a frenzied rush. It gushes wildly and explodes into our world, spewing clouds of ash and scattering in its wake millions of glittering gems. Fire, wind, rain, and ice conspire to hide the gems from the eyes of a hungry man.
Some time ago, a local mineralogist was expounding the theory that diamonds could well have come to the surface via volcanoes. Bernardo fancied the idea. Bernardo speculated that the blue ground that had sent so many packing would in fact yield the richest finds. He gambled every penny he owned, £3,000 on 2 spent claims at the centre of the mine.
Measly 2 carats and 1,000 buckets of gravel. We're not giving up, Barry. We're not going home. I'm gonna find me some diggers, and I'm gonna dig until it breaks me.
By the end of that year, he had £90,000 to his name. In 1881, Bernardo floated several mining companies. In so doing, set himself up against one of the most ruthless men in the business, Cecil John Rhodes. Both men are after the same thing: control of Kimberly's mines. The days of the small-time digger are almost done. For some time, there has been a semblance of organisation creeping into Kimberly's mines. For one thing, the mining houses have taken to setting up living compounds for the labour.
Re reka disikerete, disipe le diaparo go bagwebi ba komponi, mme dijo tsona re di jela mo sekwereng sa komponi. Re reka dijo tse kaone mo go monna wa mosolo ya e bitsang roast beef. O ile a re pega loto kotsing ya mo mining, mme bjale o dumeletswe semmuso go ba le kgwebjane ya gae e nyane ya kantine. Roast beef o tla re gaetsetša a re o dira tšhelete ya entši ka go rekisa nama le bogobe go feta ka ge a ile a šoma ka fošolo ka mining. Go na le mogale wa kakabele ka mo komponeng, yena ba re ke jemo yono kgoši ya mazora. Ka tsatsi le lengwe o ile a hlokodisa batswadi ba babedi ba makgowa mollong ka mining wa DBS. Le mohla bašomi ba gagetswe ka baka la poto e kgolo ya leraga. O ile a baya bophelo bja gagwe kotsing go bona gore motho e mongwe le yo mongwe o hlakodisitswe. Empa mo gona o na swara bjale ka mošomo mongwe le yo mongwe. O phuruphutswa tšatši le lengwe le le lengwe, o ka re go lekola dinta a tswalelwe. Ga se sa kgona go sepela lokologile mebileng.
Can you believe this little cigar peddling copy walloper?
An amalgamation into one great mining company is inevitable. and I consider that Rhodes is the only man who could drive it.
I found out one thing, and that is,
I never met a man so strong for his own opinion.
if you only stick to it, you will come out all right.
Today, Kimberly is a very different place to the camp that first welcomed me. The streets are lit up by 32 lamps of 2,000 candle power. We are linked by rail to coastal ports and have the benefit of the tram and modern telegraph. Small-time fortune hunters have been swallowed up by powerful mining companies. December 1889, and I am taking leave of Kimberly for good. In recent years, the struggle for control of Kimberly's mines has come to a head.
Well, there's no sense in wasting money, cutting each other's throats, is there?
Rhodes and Bonato locked horns in a boardroom battle. In the end, Rhodes won out.
Thanks, Gov.
He formed De Beers Concerns have shaped so many destinies.